Is it recording? Okay. We're here today to interview one of World War II veterans that has went on the honor flight. My name is Gary Welcher, and I am a volunteer with the Honor Flight of Southern Indiana. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the interview of Mr. James Hill. And the first question I want to know from you, sir, is where were you born?
Cape, Michigan, July 18, 1928.
Okay. And who were your parents? What were their names?
My father was Henry Gordon Hill. My mother was Ethel Jemima Scott. And I had a brother, George, who was born, well, I'm going to give the birthday, my brother, George Hill. And then came my sister, Ruby Hill. Then my brother, Robert Hill. And then then there was me, James Hill. Then there was my sister Clara and my brother Dwayne.
What did you do, Jim, before you joined the service? What was you doing?
Well, I was working for Element Manufacturing in Emily City, Michigan. It's a foundry, and there's just a general labor in there. And I I enlisted in the Army Air Corps because I was getting close to draft age and I didn't want to be a foot soldier, so I decided to enlist. So that's why I enlisted in 45. I didn't get inducted until February 4th of 46.
Well, you're doing real good because you just answered 3 questions in that one. Very good. You're awesome. When you enlisted, did you choose a specific branch of military?
Yes, the U.S. Army Air Corps.
Okay.
I didn't want to be a foot soldier. I was fascinated by airplanes, and I wanted to.
So you wanted to ride, you didn't want to
I wanted
walk.
to ride, fly, look up there and see what the other ones down below were doing.
Very good. Well, the Army Air Corps eventually became what?
The Army Air Force. Became the U.S. Air Force.
Awesome. Yep. What happened when you departed from the training camp? Where did you go from that point?
Then I went to Belleville, Illinois, in aircraft radio and operator mechanic school. And I didn't like that school too much, so I got out of that and I went out to, was transferred to Davis Monson Field, Tucson, Arizona, and was put on a OJT, on-the-job training for Army Air Corps mechanic. So it put me, that's why I got into B-29s as an aircraft and engine mechanic.
What were some of the very first instructions that you remember, that you recall that you received while you was in the service? When you was going after basic training, you went to advanced training, what's some of the instructions you remember?
Well, usually was told, shut up and pay attention to what you're told.
Yeah, I remember when they can get right in your face back then.
Oh, can they ever?
But they can't do it today, Jim. They don't do it that way today.
You can't.
So your specialized training was as a mechanic?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I went, in later years I went into U.S. military communications, which was working in the office to learn to type and that sort of thing. Then I come back and on a airplane engine mechanic, and then I was sent to another school and for specialty training, and I ended up as the NCO in charge of Air Corps flying equipment, and then my CO, Smiling Jack Catton, was one of the lead pilots of a bombing of Japan, and Smiling Jack Catton was a smart cookie. He went to West Point, 4 years at West Point, and leading bomb raids from Tinian Island over to Japan, and he ended up retiring from the Pentagon as a 4-star general. And now his son, he has a son that's, I understand now, I thought he was a 1-star, a brigadier general. I find out the other day that he's now a lieutenant general in the Pentagon, following his footsteps.
Well, let's go back to you, actually what you were doing. What did you think of the barracks, the style of life that you had to change from when you were on the farm, and then you came into the service? What did you think of the service life, and how did you adapt to that, the food and the barracks and things like that?
Well, there was a lot of good food I was fortunate to have. It was some of our places had good cooks, some of them didn't, but it wasn't bad overall, the food. But the other things, the commands and they were, and all my outfits wasn't too bad. And I'd like to get back and say one more thing about this Jack Kenton. I'll never forget one day my office was right outside of his, and he come out to me. He says, "Sergeant Hill, I want you to go out and get so and so off the flight line and bring him in." And going out, picked him up and brought him back in and set him in the office there. And Smiling Jack started on him, and when he got done, I heard him tell him to get back out on the line. And I don't want to hear more of this tardiness. He was every day for roll call. He was late. So after he did, he went out. He said, he come over by my desk and he said, "Wasn't that terrible how," he's smiling all the time, mind you know. He's smiling all the time, so wasn't that terrible how I chewed him out? But me, myself, I just went along plugging in to get my 3 years, and then later on, from Davis Mountain, I went to Fairbanks, Alaska, 35-day training mission for Arctic survival, and from the Arctic survival, we took all the long-range bomb bay out and put long-range cameras in it and flew every square mile of Russia. And I'll tell it to everybody now. I was signed paper to this and never tell it, but I'll tell everybody now. And then I've had a lot of good buddies in the service, which are all dead now, trained their missions, and think of something else I can talk about military. It's a great. I'll tell everybody, every young man out there, if he doesn't have a job, it's a great opportunity to get in the military and keep your nose clean, do what you're told, and you will come out on top and with benefits that will help you in the future.
Were you in any combat action?
No, I wasn't. Alaska, back up to Alaska, I was sent up there. That was considered overseas in Alaska, so I did get overseas pay for 35 days.
Awesome. So what was the difference between the friends you had back home and the friends you had in the service, for example?
Well, being a farm boy, a little different than being in a military with some city slickers, as we call them. And we got along. There was in the basic training and everything, there was several fights would break out amongst the ones in the military and the ones out, you know. Anyway,
some of the friendships that you encountered while you was in the service. Did you maintain those friendships after you came home?
Yes, pretty much on the line. My one friend, he's dead now. I met him, and he went to Alaska with me, and he seen my future wife's picture, and so he said, "Hey, who's that?" And I told him who it was. He said, "You got any more? She got any more girlfriends?" I said, "Yeah." So I called. I didn't call. I sent a letter to my wife. She sent a letter back with this Nan's address and phone number, and they started communicating. And the next thing I know, I got out of the service, and he tried to convince me to stay in, and I didn't want to stay in. So anyway, he took her up to Alaska and married her in Fairbanks, or Anchorage it was. They got married in Anchorage, and Jack ended up as a first sergeant, and he was stationed out in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and was one of the top guys up in the Air Force Command up in the mountains out in Colorado.
So it sounds like to me you got a little bit of Cupid in you when you introduced him like that.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't afraid to try to meet some gals and stuff like that, and find out their name, if they had any girlfriends and stuff like that. So,
What did you guys do for recreation when you was off duty?
we had basketball courts, and we had gymnasiums where you could work out, and there was another. I met and got run around with this all-service champion. Packy McFly was the all-service champion, lightweight boxer. He got to be my friend, and well, one guy made a mistake. One day I was up in the gym, and I was working out there, and he come and asked me to take the gloves. He said, "I'm in his yard," and he got up. I got in the ring, and he was popping around. Oh, Packy come over, and he said, "Give me those things." I gave him the gloves, and he jumped in the ring with this guy. The guy said, "No more of that." He had enough. Packy was to be all service champ. He was good. His fists were like lightning, boy.
Yeah.
He really boxed.
Where were you at when the war ended? Do you remember where you were when the war ended?
Officially?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Officially ended in
45?
No, officially ended in 46.
Okay.
I think I was probably stationed in Davis Mountain. That's why I went and enlisted when I did, so that I would get the branch of service I wanted. And that's funny, you know, talking about my brother Dwayne, younger brother. He got drafted in the Korean War right after, and he was stationed up in Anchorage, Alaska. Both of us brothers ended up he didn't get shipped overseas to fight in the Korean War, and I didn't get shipped over to fight in the European or Japanese War. So, of course, it was pretty much fought out by then. But in Davis Mountain, that was our job. We'd bring in all the B-29s out of the South Pacific and putting them in cocoons. Take all the spark plugs out and put the silicone gels, spark plugs in them, keep engines from rusting. And then after I got out, they had to take them all out of mothballs and fire them up and take them back over there to the South Pacific and fight the Korean War.
So after you got your discharge, and how did you actually get home?
I come home on a train.
On a train.
Yep, and I come home on a train, and
Was your family and everybody there and had a big old community welcoming you home? And all that, huh?
no, not back then, no.
Bands going? No?
No, not a thing, no. That's what impresses me now. I tell guys that haven't went to go because this honor flight is terrific. You get a big welcome to Washington D.C. You get a big welcome in Evansville and the lunches and meals, and it's really great how they.
Yeah, it's an honor for them to do that and a privilege for them to do that because they know that when you got out, you didn't get anything similar to that.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
How do you readjust to the civilian life from when you got out of the service back?
Well,
Did you go right back to dairy farm? To the farm?
no, I went back to the old foundry job I had for a while, and then I quit that and I got into apprenticeship, that GI Bill benefit. So, so that was a 3 years and 4 days of studying and learning all the trades, which benefited me in the long run. Ended up giving me a good job before motor company.
Okay. I remember one story when you was in the service and you guys were flying in a plane and you lost an engine. Can you explore a little on that?
Yeah, that was on a flight. I would go up to base operations and put myself on the flight list. So whenever there was a plane coming back east here, you'd get on it and fly home for nothing, you know, and be part of the crew. And so I got on the list and went and I flew with a crew member. We went into we put a B-29 into Selfridge Field, Mount Clemens, Michigan. It was mainly just a aircraft. Fighter aircraft base, and anyway, we put it in there, and the pilot said we'd probably have to bounce it out. So we brought this bird colonel up there, lived up there, and anyway, and I don't actually spent his time there. To go back, we got down and had to. I don't know if everybody knows about pulling props through on a plane. You have to pull each engine under, I forget how many revolutions. You pull on the blades of the plane to rotate, you get the lubricating oil in the upper cylinders, and anyway, get in there and we crank her up, and all 4 engines are purring, and we get on the other end of the runway, and the pilot said, we're gonna bounce her out. So he locked the main landing gear brakes, wound her up as much as she'd take, and released her, and down the runway we went. We bounced her, we went up in the air and come down and hit, and bounced her out and trimmed the treetops down there at Davis Mountain, or down at Selfridge Field. 20 minutes after he took off, pilot called, I was back in the rear section. He called back here and said, get everybody up and get your chutes on, we probably have to bail out of this thing. So I did, and as it was, we flew way down south, down, I don't know, clear around Alabama or something, come back up, and then we went into Wright Patterson Field in Dayton, Ohio, and changed the engine there. And there was a few other times that we had engines run rough, feathered them, and if you knew how to run them like old Jack Tatton did, he knew how to throttle that engine back and don't overwork it and go a long ways after you lose one. So.
Let me ask you a question. How, after you came back out of the service, did you get involved with any veteran organizations like Legion?
No, I didn't. I did. I'm a member now, like I'm a member of American Legion and stuff like that, which is a great organization. But I don't know. I guess I was too busy with all my other activities because I used to manage softball teams and different things, activities for.
You stayed busy.
Stayed busy, yeah.
Stayed busy. All right. Let me ask you this: what have you done? Well, I already asked you that. What have you done since you separated from the military? You pretty well told us. But what wartime experiences have actually affected your life?
Oh,
So you can
boy.
remember.
So for service activities that affected my life. Well, I would say that it's the making you a man, making a young guy from a guy that didn't know what way to go, and made him a young man that and really benefited in the long run for that. So,
Well, that was their goal, to make us young kids out of men
yeah.
before we actually got done with them. That's for sure. Oh, let me see. What has your military service impacted your thinking as far as us getting involved with any other wars that the generations are into now? What do you think about that?
Well, there's been a few wars I figure we should have got involved in it, but there's some that we should, and we didn't finish them. You know, turn everything loose. Vietnam War, for instance, those guys didn't get any acknowledgement at all when they come back. Because we didn't get any either. It was just about the only thing you'd have is your relatives. You know, if your relatives know you're coming home and meet your train, jump off of your duffel bag and
Go back to work.
go back to work, go
Yeah,
for a job.
Absolutely. What would you like to leave for future generations that's going to serve in the militaries? What kind of impact do you want to leave to these younger people that's going to go into the service? You and I both know that they're not going to serve in an army or any other branch of the service like we had to serve. It's totally different today, what they have to do. But we still have a lot of them that don't want to serve. And back in your day, some of them was trying to jump ship, leave and go to a different country or something else just to get out of it.
Yes, I don't know if any people remember the Second World War. That was before I went in. It was a young guy from Hamtramck, Michigan, by the name of Eddie Slovak. He was over there and he was sent to the enemy lines. The gun, they started shooting at him and he panicked and ran the other way and left, and they found him. I don't know how much longer how long it was afterwards that they found him, put him in prison and court-martialed him. Shot him too for. That always upset me that somebody would do that. No.
They don't do that to them today.
No. I'm not saying they should be shot, but there's ways to go handle some of that stuff. My mind is.
Well,
A lot of them shouldn't be let go and not get any penalty for it, which they do. Some of them do now. And, I could rattle on that quite a while, but.
Well, you mentioned earlier the honor flight of Southern Indiana out of Evansville, Indiana. And I noticed you have a portrait there of you when you was in the service. And
That's that little guy.
let's pull that up there and let the camera get a shot of that. And that was taken on the flight, and then you guys held them up at the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And I noticed you got some other pictures there. Would you like to show them to us?
Yeah, see what we can do with some of these things. This one is my basic training crew in Biloxi, Mississippi.
You're right there
You should
almost
feel-
in the middle on the front row, aren't you?
Yeah, right down there. Right now, where am I? Right there.
There you are.
Right there.
Okay. Hey, tell me a little bit about that dress that your mom made into a
my
parachute.
wife made,
From a parachute. That was your mother, okay? And she
My
made
wife,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, she made it into a dress.
Yeah.
Out of one of your parachutes.
Well, as you know, you didn't get much money in the service, and so one of my trips back east here on another hitchhike that I took, come back, and I had two parachutes on me, and I got home and I said to the wife, my girlfriend at the time, I said, "How would you like a parachute?" And she said, "Yeah, why not?" So I gave her a parachute. And I forgot all about it. And then when I got discharged, I come home and I went to her and I said, "You know, I don't have the money to buy a wedding dress, and you don't have the money to buy it." And she says, "Don't worry about it. I've made one out of that parachute."
Awesome.
And it's,
You don't have a picture of it there, do you? That'd be awesome
don't
if you
think
had a picture of it. Well,
well,
we don't, but let's go ahead and show some more of those pictures if you want
Okay,
to.
this-
Tell us about them.
this here, the picture at 29, this guy's worked, well,
Can you get it, Jim, or you want me to?
I can find out a way I can hold these up here. Yeah, this is another picture of us working on a 29, servicing the engine. Another one with the engine out, getting an overhaul. And this is my crew. I was on furlough or something the day that was taken, so that is my. I was assigned to aircraft 311 in 65th Bomb Squadron. And see, I showed that. Let's go over here.
What's the one you got there in your hand? What's
Oh,
that?
this here's one of the cross-country flights, and went down there in Dayton, Ohio, and some of us went into town, went to a bar, and we drew a crowd.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, what other? Oh, all of these other ones. How do you want to get these close together?
I want to show a few of those little ones. No, you can sit there.
Oh, you can zoom in there,
He can
okay.
zoom them in, yeah.
This here is the outdoor assembly band shell in Tucson, Arizona, and one of the musical, they had a musical performance by the Air Force, the bomb shell.
Don't look like we're going to pick those smaller pictures up, Jim.
Didn't going to?
Yeah, let me ask you a real important question here. Is there anything that you feel like I haven't asked to discuss with you that you think maybe I'll be added to this interview? If so, what is it?
What, civilian life?
Anything,
Well,
anything that we.
I can back up in how in the service, you know, you got people from all over the country. And I never forget this one time, that was at Scottsfield Rail Station. And you would, probably a lot of you guys have been in the service, I don't know how they do it nowadays, but you clean out around your own bunk area and clean it up and sweep it out in the center aisle, and a couple other guys come along and sweep all the debris up, and then everybody take their turns taking a mop and nap mopping the floor. And then one guy was giving this every other day every day when you get done it, next guy next to him, he got it to mop the center of the floor. And this one day it happened to be my turn, and I had about half done, and this, believe it or not, you had bullies in the military. Well, this guy come over, and I had witnessed him in the barracks bullying some of the guys. He come over and he said, "Don't you know how to mop a floor?" And he kicked the dirty water over on the floor. I said, "What did you do that for?" And he says, "You want to fight, huh?" And I said, "No, I just want to know why you done it." And so he stood and looked at me, and I said, he doubled up his fist, and I said, "Come on, fella." I said, "Let me tell you something." I says, "You might beat me all around this barracks, but I'm going to get a few licks in and you're going to be sore too." You know what he did? He stood there and shook like that. I called his bluff. Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody, all the guys in the barracks, and actually got a crowd by then, and they said, "Oh, look at that. Somebody called his bluff." But these are things you learn in the service. If you're going to fight somebody, don't let them do the beating on you. Beat back as much as you can, you know. I don't care if it's out fighting in the line or something.
Yeah, one of the newer versions of that is they say when you meet somebody, you know, and he's a lot bigger than you, or you don't even have to be bigger than you, and you say, "You may get a plate lunch out of me, but I'm going to get a sandwich out of you before it's done."
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they say nowadays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's about the same thing you said.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Jim? You satisfied with the interview?
Yeah, it's too bad like showing
Yeah, those smaller ones, yeah. I'm sorry.
several little pictures there.
Well, I think we're going to end it then.
Okay.
Because we can't pick those up. They're too small.